Julie Riley was a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 1. She had worked as a care assistant and a cleaner in the past. She loved animals and had a pet dog named Millie. She was described by her family and friends as a kind, generous, and bubbly person who always had a smile on her face. Julie had suffered a brain injury in 2015 after falling down the stairs at her home. She had to undergo several surgeries and was left with a metal plate in her head. The injury affected her memory, speech, and reactions. She needed constant care and support from her relatives and social workers. She also had to take medication to cope with the pain and anxiety. Julie lived alone in a flat in Govan, Glasgow, after separating from her husband. She was lonely and vulnerable and often befriended strangers. Julie Riley had several relationships in her life, but not all of them were positive or healthy. She was married to a man named John Riley, and they had 3 children together. They separated in 2017 after Julie suffered a brain injury that changed her personality and behavior. John said he still loved her and tried to help her, but she pushed him away. She was a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 1. She loved her family and was close to them, especially her daughter, Tiona Hanlon. Tiona said Julie was a kind, generous, and bubbly person who always had a smile on her face. She also said Julie was lonely and vulnerable and often befriended strangers. She was a friend of Andrew Wallace, a convicted killer who had previously killed a woman when he was 15. She met him in late 2017 and allowed him to stay with her at her flat in Govan, Glasgow. These relationships affected Julie in different ways. Her marriage and family gave her love and support, but also caused her pain and stress after her brain injury. Her friendship with Andrew Wallace was a fatal mistake that cost her life and dignity. Julie was reported missing by her worried relatives on the 15th of February 2018 after failing to turn up for several appointments and missing her grandson's first birthday. Her mother and sister later made a public appeal for help in tracing her. Police launched an investigation, and following that, the last recorded sighting of Julie Riley was on the 6th of February 2018 at the Aldi store on Paisley Road West. In the following footage, Julie was seen walking with Andrew Wallace, unaware that a tragic moment in her life was about to come. The suspicion went directly toward Andrew Wallace, and police started to look for him, and also Julie, because at this point, investigators had no clue what happened to Julie. While on the other side, detectives decided to search the house of her. The detectives observed the following things inside the house of Julie Riley when they were searching for her. There were bloodstains on the walls, floor, and furniture of the living room, where Wallace had killed Julie. A blood-soaked mattress and bedding in the bedroom, where Wallace might have moved Julie's body after killing her. A large suitcase and a plastic bag containing Julie's clothes, personal belongings, and medication were in the hallway, which Wallace had packed to make it look like she had left the flat. There was a note on the kitchen table, written by Wallace, pretending to be Julie, saying that she had gone to stay with a friend in the East End of Glasgow. A mobile phone belonging to Julie was also found, which Wallace had used to send fake texts to her family and friends, claiming that she was fine and had moved to another area of Glasgow. These were some of the things that the detectives observed inside the house of Julie when they were searching for her. They were crucial pieces of evidence that linked Andrew Wallace to her murder and disappearance. Some people in the community saw human remains near their houses and were horrified. Some of them reported the following. A woman who lived in Ardshill Road, where part of Julie's body was found in a garden, said she was sickened and scared by the discovery. She said she had seen Wallace carrying a suitcase and a plastic bag, but did not suspect anything. A man who lived in Lorne Street, where the rest of Julie's body was found in another garden. He said he had noticed a bad smell and flies in the area, but did not know what it was. And another woman who lived in the same tenement as Julie in Shield Hall Road said she was heartbroken by the discovery of her. She said she had been friends with Julie and had tried to help her after her brain injury. Andrew Wallace was arrested in April 2018 after human remains were found in the back garden of a tenement in Ardshiel Road and were confirmed to be Julie's. The police had been investigating him since February 2018, when Julie was reported missing by her family. They traced his movements and found CCTV footage of him carrying heavy suitcases. They also interviewed him several times and found inconsistencies in his statements. He lied about Julie's whereabouts and sent fake texts from her phone. Wallace pleaded guilty to Julie's murder after a long period of time and was sentenced to life imprisonment, with a minimum of 28 years before he can apply for parole. He also confessed to the police and told them where he had hidden the rest of her body. The family of Julie Riley went through a lot of pain and grief after her murder and disappearance. They also showed courage and resilience in their quest for justice and closure. Julie's mother, Margaret Hanlon, and her sister, Lynn Bryce, reported her missing on the 15th of February 2018 and launched a campaign to find her. They appealed to the public for any information and distributed posters and leaflets. They also made an emotional appeal for her return, saying that they loved her and missed her. They said Julie was a kind, generous, and bubbly person who always had a smile on her face. They were devastated and angry when they learned that Julie had been killed and dismembered by Andrew Wallace, a convicted killer who had befriended her. They said Wallace was a monster who had taken advantage of Julie's vulnerability and kindness. They said they were happy that they had found all of Julie and hoped to hold a funeral for her. They thanked the police and the community for their support and help. They attended Wallace's court case and saw him being sentenced to life imprisonment, with a minimum of 28 years before he could apply for parole. They said they hoped he would never be released and that he would suffer for what he had done. They also said they hoped Julie could rest in peace now. The community was shocked and horrified by the case of Julie Riley. They also showed compassion and solidarity with her family. Many people joined the search for Julie and shared information on social media. They also offered their condolences and prayers to her family. Some people who lived near the locations where Julie's remains were found expressed their disgust and fear. They said they had seen Wallace carrying heavy suitcases and bags, but did not suspect anything. They also said they had noticed a bad smell and flies in the area, but did not know what it was. People who knew Julie personally or professionally said they were heartbroken and distraught by the case. They said Julie was a friendly and caring person who loved her family and animals. They also said she had suffered a brain injury that affected her memory and speech, and that she needed constant care and support. Some people who were involved in the investigation or the documentary said they were impressed and inspired by the work of the police and the family. They said the case was challenging and complex, but also rewarding and meaningful. They said they hoped the case would raise awareness and action on the issues of gender-based violence and missing persons. Make sure to subscribe and give a like. It helps me a lot making videos like these. Also, you can watch the cases that pop up on the screen.